interesting topic. I want to speak on how insecure leaders damage teams. Most people in their workplaces are actually uh, stifled by their insecurity. So, insecure leaders often feel threatened by the very people who could strengthen the team. And that's what makes insecure leadership so dangerous. Because unlike incompetence, insecurity often hides in plain sight. It doesn't always look aggressive. It doesn't always look toxic. Sometimes it looks like excessive control, withholding recognition. Sometimes it looks like constantly needing to be the smartest person in the room. But over time, insecure leadership damages trust, stifles talent, and quietly erodes the culture of an entire team. Today, we're exploring the psychology of insecure leadership and the hidden ways it affects people, performance, and organizational success. Welcome to the Quirky Coach podcast. If you are interested in leadership, psychology, communication, emotional intelligence, and personal growth, you are in the right place. Every week, I explore riveting psychological patterns that share or shape leaders, teams, workplaces, and human behavior. And I believe better leadership begins with better self awareness. So let's dig right into it. Healthy leaders see talented people as assets. Yes. On the contrary, insecure leaders often see talented people as threats. That's the first warning sign. When a leader lacks confidence internally, they can become uncomfortable around capable individuals. Instead of asking, how can this person strengthen the team? They begin asking, what if this person outshines me? That subtle shift changes everything. That becomes competition. Ideas become challenges. Feedback becomes criticism, and potential becomes something to control rather than develop. Ironically, the very people who could elevate the team become the people the leader fears the most. Yeah. One of the other problem is micromanagement. Many leaders justify micromanagement as attention to detail. And that's the culture in many companies. You may know one or two. Maybe you do work in such an environment. But often, micromanagement is anxiety disguised as leadership. At its core, micromanagement reflects a lack of trust. The leader struggles to believe that others can perform effectively without constant oversight. So they monitor excessively, they control unnecessarily, they interfere repeatedly, they second guess decisions. That results in employees stop taking initiatives, creativity declines, confidence shrinks. People become dependent rather than empowered. And eventually, the leader creates the very problem they were trying to avoid: a team incapable of independently operating. Now, another common trait of insecure leadership is withholding recognition. And this is very common. It can appear in different forms. And yes, there are different forms that can um, influence this. But recognition is powerful because it validates contribution. Secure leaders, on the other hand, celebrate success. Insecure leaders, however, they struggle to do so. And the question is why? It's because acknowledging another person's excellence can feel threatening. So recognition becomes scarce, becomes a tool. Credit gets redirected sometimes. Achievements are minimized. Contributions go unnoticed. And all these things might be happening to you. Why? Over time, employees begin asking themselves, why should I continue giving my best? So motivation declines, engagement drops, and high performers quietly begin looking elsewhere. This is perhaps one of the most destructive patterns. Talented individuals often challenge assumptions. They ask difficult questions. They offer alternative perspectives. They push standards. And secure leaders welcome that. However, insecure leaders often interpret it as a challenge to authority. A new leader might be like that. And when that happens, talent gets punished. No wonder you hold back. No wonder people hold back. Not openly, but subtly. Opportunities disappear. Yes, you know, visibility decreases. Ideas get ignored. Access becomes restricted. The message then becomes very clear: stay small if you want to be safe. And because many people operate on survival mode in workplaces, they rather choose to stay small. And maybe this has affected you. You have stayed small for too long in your workplace. Maybe this is an awakening call to say there's greatness inside of you. Don't believe, as much as it has happened to you, the insecurity of your leaders, of your boss, of your team leader, of your manager, to affect you to the level where you become small and therefore unsafe. These are red flags if they are happening in your organization. If you are experiencing them, you should know what to do. Enough said. So they want you to stay small if you want to stay safe. And when that message spreads through a team, innovation dies. Because nobody wants to become the next target. No. We are all here to work. We gather in this space to contribute effectively, or so some of you think. One of the fastest ways to damage team culture is emotional unpredictability. People need consistency, especially from leaders. And when employees never know what mood they will encounter, um, how feedback will be perceived, whether mistakes will trigger anger. They stop focusing on performance and start focusing on survival. And probably you're wondering as a manager why your team isn't performing. And the team might not be the problem. Somebody else might be. Start with the man in the mirror. So, workplace becomes emotionally exhausting. So, energy that should be spent solving problems gets spent managing anxiety. And most people are in workplaces managing anxiety. People become conscious, defensive, silent, and eventually disengage. Why? Psychological safety disappears, and with it, trust. Let's talk another issue that is very touchy for most leaders. It affects a lot of places, and this is ego. Ego is expensive. So leadership becomes dangerous when ego takes priority over purpose. Yes, ego-driven leaders need validation, control, status, superiority. They want to feel better than everyone else. They want to be feared, revered even. And that's a problem. The problem is the leadership isn't about proving your value. It's about creating value. And when leadership decisions are based on ego, the team pays the price. People stop sharing ideas. Constructive disagreement disappears. I hope you have that. Constructive disagreement disappears. Diversity of thought shrinks and decision making suffers because nobody wants to challenge the leader's ego. No. The organization becomes less intelligent simply because people no longer feel safe being honest. Yeah. As a leader, is your team honest around you? Do they feel safe? Can they be vulnerable? Can they open up? Say what you don't want to hear for the benefit of the organization, and you'd listen. And if your team, your colleagues, cannot be honest with you, there is a problem. Start asking the right questions. Now, the opposite of insecure leadership is not perfection, it's security. Some leaders, or rather, secure leaders develop talent, they share credit, they welcome feedback, not interpreted or as criticism, no, feedback. They actually encourage it, they regulate emotions, they empower others. And here's one of the most important: they remain teachable. Yeah. They don't need to be the smartest person in the room. They build rooms filled with smart people. Yes. Because secure leaders understand something powerful. They understand that the success of others does not diminish their value. On the contrary, it amplifies impact or their impact. So in conclusion, I want to say this. Leadership insecurity rarely announces itself. However, it reveals itself through behavior, through micromanagement, through control, through withholding recognition, through punishing talent, through emotional volatility, and through ego-driven divisions. And while these behaviors may temporarily protect a leader's insecurity, they come at a tremendous cost, because teams don't thrive under fear. They thrive under trust. And ultimately, leadership is not about protecting your position. It's about creating an environment where people can perform at their best. The most effective leaders are those who do not need to be important. The most effective leaders are those who make other people feel important. And that's what creates lasting influence. As a leader, understand this. When you step into that building, it's not about you shining, being recognized, being bowed to. And we see this all over the world. Your position there is not to lord it over others. It isn't. Your position there is to lift others up, is to recognize them. There are many philosophical quotations that come to mind here. But as long as there is somebody under you who performs better, you can never stop them from rising up. They may not rise up where you are. They will find a place. Even in a rock, a seed that is sown there will crack that rock and it will sprout and blossom. So there is always an opportunity for somebody to show their worth, find a way out. So it's been lovely having you here. So if you enjoyed today's conversation, I please ask you to subscribe to the Quirky Coach podcast for weekly insights on leadership psychology, communication, emotional intelligence, influence, and personal growth. Because success isn't just what you achieve. It's about understanding the psychology that shapes you on how you lead, how you work, how you communicate, how you live. And if this episode resonated with you, I please ask you to share it with someone. Share it with somebody who cares about becoming a better leader. And thank you for subscribing. See you in the next one. Bye.